All right. Here we go, guys and gals. And boogity, boogity, boogity. Let's go racing, drivers.
Our predictions for the 2025 NASCAR season for all three major series, of course, the Cup Series, the Xfinity Series, and the Truck Series. And I think we're now recording
on voice
on
memos.
voice memos.
So if you're listening to us on delay, it's not going to be as quality crisp as usual, but it'll still be there. Anyway, let's get into the reviews, shall we, Ethan?
Yeah, before we get into our predictions, we do have to review the clash at Bowman Gray.
And now for last week's race reviews.
I wasn't there me and Andrew watched the main race together, but I wasn't over at his apartment for the last chance qualifiers or any of that. I was at Phoenix Municipal Stadium. Andrew, what happened during the last chance qualifiers to set us up for the race?
Let's go back to the heat races where you had some calamity. You had Justin Haley and Kyle Busch going at it and won, and Chase Elliott won his, I believe. Denny Hamlin won his. Chris Buescher won his, I want to say, and there was one other one off. I should have. I wasn't that invested in the heats, and quite frankly, I did not take notes this weekend. So sorry. I just didn't care. But I did watch the last chance qualifier with fair amount of intensity, I guess you could say. But I will say the last chance qualifier was intense. You had guys who were racing like their jobs were on the line. Notably, the Dillon brothers, absolutely going at it with anyone, including each other at points in the race, which it's like, hey, aren't you guys brothers? Aren't you guys supposed to race each other a little bit cleaner? But no. Zane Smith was mixing it up. Ty Gibbs was mixing it up at points. Justin Haley was. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. and Burt Myers got together. It looked like Myers kind of turned down into Stenhouse, but it was weird. That was a weird incident. Just a lot of strange things happened during that. A lot of cautions. And I will say, during one of those cautions, as I go back to get my backpack in the studio, there was some clownery going around from one of the show's most frequent guests, Morgan Tremmel's favorite driver, Ty Gibbs. What he did was, under the caution, drove up to Justin Haley, and I'm going to reenact this with my hands, Ethan, is that people listening can't see this, unfortunately. So under caution, Haley was on the pace car line. Gibbs coming up on the right side.
It's on the outside.
On the outside. Gibbs drives off of Haley.
Like off his rear quarter panel.
Hits him on the side.
Uh-huh.
Gibbs goes up in the air.
So he hits the rear right quarter panel and pops up in the air.
Yes. His whole car does a wheelie. I'm not quite sure how that works, going 30 miles an hour. Or maybe it was faster than that, but still. What are we doing here, Ty? You get the chicken award. Chicken making
What's wrong with
different
your chicken, dude? What's wrong with your rubber chicken?
It's fine. I'm just making it make different noises tonight. But
this feels more like just plain old tomfoolery than anything else.
I don't know where Tom is. So
going around.
Anyway, who wound up advancing, you may wonder? Well, that was quite frankly some of the best drivers in the field. Kyle Larson,
best driver in the world, can't even make it through the main heats. Has to make it through last chance qualifying. How disappointing.
And he wasn't even goodness. He was a couple cars back from the top 5 that advanced. But he had the best car in the LCQ by a mile. And then Josh Berry, who is a known short track ace, this guy. He is very good at the short tracks. He showed why he's good, because he drove up through the field. He was further back than Kyle Larson, and he drove his Wood Brothers car, which isn't the best car in the world, past a lot of these guys who were starting up front. So that's a lot of credit. That's probably one of the drives of the night. And then Ryan Blaney made it in on the points provisional. So that set the field of 23 cars. A lot of interesting drivers in it. Noah Gregson wearing his camo overalls that looked dorky on him. Well, everything's going to look dorky on him. He just looks dorky as it is. I like the guy,
Ouch.
but I'm also a dorky looking fellow as it is, so.
Fair enough.
I look in the mirror every day and I see myself and go, I should take this mirror down.
That's a little harsh.
Hey, I tell it like it is, okay? That's what you're going to get from me. Anyway, so Noah Gregson, Carson Hocevar, Todd Gilland in the Fish Yeah car, Chris Buescher in the Treetop Juice car, and among other folks. Ryan Priest was in it too, which is a good thing for him.
Good sign for him.
Yeah, especially in the start of his career. Who knows how well it's going to be in that 60 car? My expectations are not as high as some others, but we'll see. We'll see with him. So yeah, the race happened. Really wasn't much. Chase Elliott dominated for the majority of the race. Led, I think, the first 95 laps or so of the first half before Denny Hamlin passed him, and then second half, Denny Hamlin led to start the first 25 laps before Chase passed him or so, and Ryan Blaney, that last guy to get in, Ethan, he drove up all the way to second place.
Yeah.
And looked
And
like
he did something similar during the main race.
Well, no, that was the main race.
Oh, we're talking about the main race
Yeah,
now?
we're talking about the main race.
What do I know?
I don't know what you know.
I'm getting prepared for our main event today.
But regardless of that, the Clash, definitely keep it at North Wilkesboro for at least 1 year, or move the All-Star race there and have, or did I say North Wilkesboro?
You
has
did.
A Clash. Oof, Andrew, be better. The Clash at Bowman Gray. I'd like to see Bowman Gray have an exhibition race next year. I thought delivered well, whether that be the Clash or the All-Star race. I think that and then you move North Wilkesboro to a full race on the schedule. I think that's a good possibility. And then that, which frees up the Clashes. A lot of people, there's been rumors as Ethan spins the third chair in the studio around.
This ain't a play-by-play thing. Keep your monologue. Don't lose track.
The rumor being is that NASCAR could take the Clash internationally, and it's
I'd like to see that.
And
cool.
What is being rumored is Brazil, which could be interesting.
Cool. There's a stock car scene down in Brazil.
Yeah, there's a stock car scene down in Brazil. Well, I mean, it wouldn't be my first pick, but hey,
sure.
if you're going international, it's never a bad thing, I think.
Yeah, I think NASCAR going international is something that they should strive to do a little bit more. It's always obviously going to be an American series, but a few races international, even if they're just exhibition races, I think only helps. Gets more eyes on the product, drives up interest. I think it's just interesting. It could be interesting, and if the racing is good, keep it around, try it out. And if the racing is good, keep it around. For my opinion on the Clash, it differs from Andrew. As I said last week on our podcast, not on the live show episode that we recorded, I said that I can understand why NASCAR fans are excited for the Clash at Bowman Gray, but for me, it was just meh. And that's kind of what I felt watching the race. It was just meh. It wasn't really that exciting. There were some exciting parts for sure, but overall, just wasn't an interesting race for me. I didn't particularly enjoy watching it. take it or leave it. Yeah, I won't watch it next year, most likely. I don't think it was as huge of a success racing-wise as NASCAR would have wanted it to be.
I'd agree.
But, I think that they'll probably keep it around. It's not a cup race. It's, at the end of the day, it's an exhibition race, so it doesn't matter too much. Andrew kept telling me that the last chance qualifying race was very interesting, so they'll probably give it a few more shots for the main race to match the levels that the last chance qualifier showed can happen. And then, after a few years, if it's just continuously meh, then I can see them moving it. Or like a rotating schedule for the exhibition race. I understand why the appeal for the teams is, you're traveling so close to home.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. I wonder what other fans' thoughts of this was, to be quite honest.
If you look at Jeff Gluck's Good Race poll, it was overwhelmingly positive. I feel like I'm always a positive person in things compared to other people, but I voted no on the Good Race poll because it was underwhelming for me for the race. If you were to count the LCQ into that and the heats, probably that might change things. But at the end of the day, the race itself wasn't all the best. But Chase Elliott won, and that
makes Andrew happy.
That makes Andrew happy, but
1 point for me for the pick points.
Yeah, you did pick. Let's go over that real quickly. You picked Denny Hamlin, who beat Joey Logano, and Ty Gibbs, who didn't make the race. Good job, guests.
Good job, Morgan.
The best that they could do is Ty Gibbs. That's how you know they're not a real contender. And I'll always say that. They're probably going to beat us. So
they'll probably beat you. I am the 2-time champion of pick points.
All right. Would you like a stat, Ethan?
Yeah, when was the last time you led? Is that the stat?
No, that's not the
stat I want to know.
It's the stat who led first after the first race never went on to win the championship.
Yeah, with a sample size of 2, bud.
Hey, the trend is your friend. That's what Larry
I don't even know if you can call that
a
trend.
That's what Larry McReynolds always says, and I will not disagree with America's crew chief.
This has been a sample size of 2.
It's still a trend. Trend is your friend.
When was the last time you were in the lead?
Almost a year ago, but that's not important. As we go into the news.
And now for the news.
As NASCAR announces the Xfinity Fast Lap program for 2025, as also Xfinity dropping sponsorship of the NASCAR Xfinity Series after 2025. So, hopefully they can get a sponsor to replace Xfinity, because Xfinity's been around for a while. But the Fast Lap, NASCAR is now going to add a Fast Lap point to every race in all 3 series.
Stole it from Formula One.
Now that Formula One's getting rid of it, NASCAR says we'll scoop that right on up. Perfect timing. But I do like this move. I think
I do too. I'm a fan of fastest lap points.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we'll see how that could affect championships, because I believe I will take this with a grain of salt because it is the internet, but Christopher Bell, I think, won the Fast Lap at Las Vegas, which at Martinsville, that would have put him 1 point above William Byron. Would have put Bell in the championship, not Byron. So who knows what it could bring in terms of playoff shakeups. But anyway, Ethan, with our remaining 45 minutes-ish in studio time, we're going to go through our playoff predictions.
Let's do it.
Starting off with your... I don't know if you wrote down... I just did this for Cup only. I wrote down who was going to miss the playoffs. So I'm going to go...
I didn't write down like everyone who missed the playoffs, I have a couple of guys that I think just missed.
I do have that tier too.
Okay.
So I'm just gonna go through my own bottom end tier. So I have my all by yourself tier, which it's actually another word, but I'm not gonna say it on air. Is Cody Ware. And then moving up to the mid tier of guys who are just going to be mid throughout the year: Austin Dillon, Noah Gragson, not Corey LaJoie anymore. That's Justin Haley, Ty Dillon, Josh Berry, Todd Gilliland, Riley Herbst, Zane Smith, Ryan Priest, John Hunter Nemechek, Eric Jones, Ricky Stenhouse, Ryan Priest, and Daniel Suarez, I think, are all not going to be close to the playoffs. Kind of that mid tier of guys about from 22nd on to 35th in the point standings. That's, I believe, if I listed them all, I might have forgot some guy, but who really cares about that? Because that's not what we're here to do. Just of the guys, for me, let's just go tier by tier. My just missed guys, I have 5 guys in this. So this is your 17, 18, 19, 20, and 21, Ethan. I have Austin Cindric, Kyle Busch, AJ Allmendinger, Michael McDowell, and Carson Hocevar are you guys just missing out of the playoffs.
Okay, so I asked you if we were going to do a full 30 whatever full-time drivers. You said no. I only did the playoff 16, but there were guys that I was,
Contemplating,
Boom. putting in. So you'll see my playoffs, but for the guys that I was considering that just missed it, Bubba Wallace just missed for me. Austin Cindric just missed for me. AJ Allmendinger just missed for me. There's a few other guys that I was considering, but I deleted them from the document, so I quite honestly don't understand. But it was mostly Bubba Wallace and Austin Cindric that I was really contemplating. And, well, I'll spoil it now, actually. Joey Logano. I don't have Joey Logano in my playoff 16. The defending champion. Don't have him in. I was going to keep it for a surprise later on, but I was thinking about it. At one point, I had him. I kept moving around Joey Logano. At one point, I had him in the round of 12. Ended up not even being on my list. The Joey Logano and Penske really come alive during the playoffs. But right. If you look at the season, if it weren't for that, five overtime, was it 5?
Nashville.
5 overtime race in Nashville.
That was a fuel mileage run, too.
He wouldn't have even made the playoffs, and I don't know if he'll have that kind of luck again. Because he, say what you want about it, we've already talked about it a million times, we don't need to go over it again. But under the current playoff format, he plays the playoffs perfectly. Mm-hmm. But you have to get there. And his regular season running, as of recent and with the downwards trends, I don't think that he makes it. And that's kind of crazy to not put the defending champ into the playoff 16, but I stand by it.
I think that's a fair take, Ethan. I want to ask you, are you a believer in the even number year Logano theorem? Where he's only good at even number years. Do you think there's any merit to that to just continue or?
As a fan of the early 2010 San Francisco Giants, I would have to say that I do believe in the every other year magic.
Okay. You Ethan, you said Bubba Wallace was the first guy you left out. Bubba Wallace was the first guy, the last guy in for me. Mm-hmm. I have him being bounced in the first round regardless. My other 4 that are going to be bounced this round are Keselowski. I think RFK is going to have slightly down. You're going with 3 cars. Okay. Ty Gibbs, I don't know if he's going to take that step up that people think he might. And I'm going to have Cup Rookie of the Year, Shane Van Gisbergen. I don't like the tracks that suit him.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think.
So those are your first four
those
out?
are my first. These are my first four out in round one.
Yeah. So 16, 15, 14, 13 in that
Yes.
order? Okay.
Well, not in that order of, but just...
Okay. I wrote them in order. So in 16th for me, I'm wearing a shirt, Shane Van Gisbergen.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's a lock to make the playoffs because Chicago's gonna be the one that everyone expects, but any of the road courses, road tracks, he has a shot at winning any of those. And I think that if you told me, if you're a time traveler from the end of the season and you told me he didn't win one of those, I would be very, very surprised. So I have to put him in. Now, the learning curve on the ovals, and especially with the increased talent of the Cup Series, I have to knock him out. There's no road course in the first round this year, so I have to say he doesn't make it. In 15th, I have Carson Hocevar. You were considering him, Andrew. You said he doesn't make it. I think he does make it, but I do have him getting bounced in the first round. He has his issues for sure, but on his day, he's fast. Maybe he gets his first win. Maybe he just has enough good races run that he gets in on points. I have him in, though. In 14th, I have Kyle Busch. I think he snaps the losing streak in 2025.
Somewhere Eric List is happy.
Yeah, look, Kyle Busch has had some bad luck, or just at least not had some things go his way that it seems other drivers have had. He hasn't been a beneficiary of luck, let's put it that way.
Mm-hmm.
I think that can change in 2025. I think there's tracks that him and RCR can compete at. It was proven even last year. It's just that they could never come away with the first place finish. But there was...
That didn't go out on air, by the way. So you
okay.
can continue.
Thanks. Okay. Two second place finishes for Kyle Busch. One of them was at Daytona. What if he just out and won the Daytona 500? I know some people think it might happen. I've seen some things online.
Yeah, his 20th attempt. Do you know who else won in his 20th attempt driving for Richard Childress Racing?
Who?
Dale Earnhardt Sr.
Dale Earnhardt Sr. Well, maybe history will repeat itself. And then rounding out my first round for me, I have Ross Chastain, second Trackhouse driver to be kicked out in the round of 16. Ross Chastain made it all the way to the Final Four just a few years back. He's a good driver. He didn't make the playoffs last year, but I think that he's a good driver. I think that he can make it. Don't think he can progress super far, though.
I feel like you'll see my predictions. So, going into my round of 12, Ethan, I am not a believer in the Logano theory, but at the end of the day, Logano didn't have a great year last year.
He did not.
So he's going to be bounced out. Chase Briscoe and his new team, I could see them making the playoffs or missing the playoffs. But regardless, I don't think anyone has him going deep. I think he's going to be bounced in the round of 12. Chris Buescher, if you look points-wise, he had a good year last year, disregarding playoffs. He had top 15 numbers. But with all those far winners down, like Harrison Burton, for instance,
yeah,
you don't have that at the end of the day on the money sheet. What counts for it. So I think Chris Buescher is going to have a similar year last year, going to have that race win somewhere, and be bounced in the round of 12. My final driver, at the end of the day, this guy, he's getting a huge downgrade in crew chief. And I think that's going to say a lot. A lot more than what some people think. I don't think Chris Gale is the guy. I don't think he's got that same dog in him as Chris Gabehart did. So Denny Hamlin will be getting bounced in the round of 12.
All right. Well, in my number 12 spot, I have Ty Gibbs. I think that this is the year he picks up his first win. I'm calling it already. Andrew, write it in on the dock. It's going to come at Pocono.
Pocono's not. I haven't gone that far yet.
Well, when you do, write it in because I think, I mean, he runs great there. I think he has a very good shot of winning there. I think that's where his first win is going to be. Maybe his only win on the season, but I think he's going to continue to progress, incremental progressions, and I have him making the round of 12, albeit being kicked out in the round of 12. In 11th, I do have Chris Buescher in the RFK car, Robert F. Kennedy Racing, of course.
No, it's Roush Fenway Keselowski Racing.
I don't know.
That's what it says on their website.
If you say so. In 10th, I have Chase Briscoe taking over Martin Truex Jr.'s seat. That team had some issues, I suppose, at times, but still think he can make it, finish 10th. And then 9th, I have Brad Keselowski. You had him getting kicked out in the first round. I have Bradley, Keselowski, making it all the way up to 9th. He's reuniting with his old crew chief. I wonder if that will give him a boost, because on the document I essentially have it giving him a bit of a boost. We'll see how it plays out.
All right, your round of 8. And this is there's a lot of naysayers for this driver, and a lot of people say, "Oh, this guy's gonna get removed. This guy's no good. He's gonna prove the doubters wrong. Gonna have another year with his crew chief Blake Harris. Gonna build a nice round of 8 run, and everyone's gonna remember why Alex Bowman is an underrated guy. He's gonna make the round of 8.
I like that.
Also, the guy I'm gonna have next go is a guy. If he makes the playoffs, he's gonna go deep. I think the question is, will this guy get to the playoffs or not? Because he's so inconsistent on the racetrack. He's gonna have a lot of bad finishes, but he's gonna have a lot of good ones. And that's why he didn't make the playoffs last year. But that's also why he's made the Final Four in the years past. Ross Chastain going to be eliminated in the round of 8. And my final 2 drivers are going to be guys who made the championship 4 last year. I'm going to take William Byron and Tyler Reddick to just be the first 2 guys out. So yeah, someone's got to have a down year, because I feel like some guys are going to rise, and I think those 2 are the most likely to have a down year. You have the Reddick, his team's kind of it's in a safer spot than it looked to be at other parts of the off season, but they're still suing NASCAR at the end of the day.
Yeah,
so.
And I think that will play a part. I agree. I have one of the owners of that team, Denny Hamlin, finishing 8th, making it to the round of 8. I suppose, despite me and Andrew not having him separated that much, I am one of the people that think that the crew chief change isn't a huge deal, albeit I don't think it helps him at all. But I do have him finishing in the same position that he finished last year, 8th. I think it's hard to envision a step forward here, but I don't think there's going to be a huge step back. Basically, everything that you said about Alex Bowman, I agree with. I have him finishing 7th. 6th, I have your favorite driver, Chase Elliott. Think he's going to have himself a really nice year, but not quite enough to make the Final Four. And then Tyler Reddick, kind of what you hit on too. You know, someone's gonna a couple drivers are gonna have to fall out. You already heard me talk about Joey Logano. Tyler Reddick, I think, like you said, you have that kind of cloud coming over the team. That definitely doesn't help. And at the end of the day, it's also kind of just a gut feeling. When you look at kind of the top drivers who I envision being in the top 4, and you have to consider, 5, 6, 7 drivers to whittle it down to 4. Tyler Reddick, for me, just kind of didn't make as much sense when I was writing the numbers next to the names for me. You'll see who I have in the top 4. You can probably already make a guess if you've been listening. But that's my 16 through 5. Andrew, get started with your. Let's go. Do you want to go for the final 4 for you know what I mean? We go back and forth after each.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't have my guys in order,
Okay.
but I do think we have 3 of the same final 4, and of the playoffs, if I can do my mental math right, I think we have 14 of the same 16 drivers.
Yeah.
So,
I think you're right.
with that being said, I'm going to eliminate the guy that you didn't have making it, Chase Elliott. He has won the championship before at Phoenix, but I do think when I looked at the final 4 guys, I said, oh, it's this guy's year this year. I don't know why I said it was this guy's year, but I said, oh, it's this guy's year. And it was just, that guy just didn't happen to be Chase Elliott.
I wonder if we're thinking about the same guy. I've been very vocal since even the start of last year that I thought it was that guy's year, potentially. And then by the time the playoffs came around, I was 100% on board that it was that guy's year. I'm going to stop there to not spoil anything, but it was a similar kind of thought process for me. I had one guy that I knew was going to win, or I think is going to win. I don't know anything. A guy who I think is going to win, and then it was just a matter of who do I think is going to finish 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. Finishing 4th for me, Hendrick Motorsports driver William Byron. He made the playoffs. He made the Final 4 last year. Finished 3rd. We had the 1, 2, 3 of 3 out of the 4 drivers eligible to win the championship. So he's carrying experience into this. But even against the 3 other drivers, I think he's a little bit of the weak link. And that sounds disrespectful, but I don't mean it in a disrespectful way. He's a very, very good driver. It's just I think there's 3 better.
Mm-hmm. Well, last year I said at the beginning of the year, oh, it's this guy's year. The playoffs, I said, oh, it's this guy's year. And then when he was eligible at the Final 4, I said, oh, it's this guy's year. He might have had the best car at Phoenix last year, but he finished 2nd to Joey Logano. Ryan Blaney is going to not win the championship this year. It's just not his year this year. He's going to have a great year like he did last year, but he won't have the best year at the end of the day. Simple as that.
Yeah. Finishing in 3rd place position for me, the most talented driver in the world, Kyle Larson. And I mean that a little bit sarcastically, but not really, because Kyle Larson is just a winner in everything that he's sat behind the wheel of. He has given it a great shot, and NASCAR is no different. I mean, he won a million races last year, it seemed like, even in, for NASCAR, a series that so many different drivers win races in. It seemed like if you picked him to win any given race, you would kind of go and be like, yeah, makes sense. It's Kyle Larson. He's that driver. He's done it before. He's won a championship. But I don't think he will in 2025.
I agree. Kyle Larson won't. He just so hard to win these things because, Ethan, when you go into Phoenix, you truly have a 1-4 shot.
Yeah.
Because it's you only have so much skill on one day. And Kyle Larson over the season, he's probably the best day.
His best days are better than anyone else's.
Yeah, his best days are better. And he probably has best years more often than not. But Phoenix isn't his best track, and quite frankly, I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah. Should I go?
Yeah,
Alright.
say who's gonna be second, because you haven't said that yet,
Okay.
and I know who you're gonna say.
So, do you want me to go second and then my winner, or just say who's second?
Second.
Okay. Finishing second, I have Ryan Blaney. Second year in a row that he'll finish second, if my predictions are correct. He runs well at Phoenix. It's hard to go against him at Phoenix, right? He's won a championship there. He's finished second there more times than I can count. Finished in the top 5 there more times than I can count. It is overall a very, very good track for him. But correct me if I'm wrong, Andrew. I don't think he's ever won there.
I think didn't he win the? Thinking here. See, Blaney won a championship.
He won a championship, but he finished second.
You might be right. I'm surprised by that because I've been to almost every NASCAR race at Phoenix in Ryan Blaney's career. Because Ryan Blaney should have won.
The year that he won the championship in 2023, Ross Chastain won the race.
Yeah.
And more often than not, in this format, you have to win the race to win the championship.
Sure.
And Ryan Blaney, if you say that this is the year that he punches through and wins at Phoenix, given how well he's run there in the past, I wouldn't have an argument against you. But at the end of the day, he hasn't done it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're right. So, other champion, I think it's the same guy. Want to say in 3, 2, 1.
Christopher Bell. For the second year in a row, I am picking Christopher Bell. I didn't even really mean it to be this way, but Christopher Bell is quickly becoming my guy on the podcast and now show. He's won there in the spring. Even before I predicted him to win, before I predicted him to win last year, he hadn't won there. Now he's done it. Now he's won there. And in the championship race, he wasn't fighting for a win, still finished 5th. And I think that with the whole controversy of him missing the Final Four, he is going to have a fire underneath him coming into this season. He is ultra talented. He's not some, young rookie anymore. He has experience. This is going to be his 6th year in the Cup Series. He's had success, just not the highest of the high. And I think that changes this year. Because like I said, he's going to have a fire underneath him. He's proven he can win at Phoenix. And it wasn't like it was a one-time thing. He's ran well there in the past. I think, overall, Blaney has had more consistent success there. But Bell's been able to prove that he can win there.
Yeah.
And for me, that's a big deal.
Ethan, luck. When you don't have it, it makes you say a word that has the same amount of letters that rhymes with luck. So, and he's had bad luck.
Oh, yeah.
In the past few years. He had a brake issue at Phoenix that took him out of the championship war. And what happened last year? That's bad luck.
That is bad luck.
When he gets good luck, he's going to... I think he could be unbeatable.
And something's got to change. The bad luck can't last forever,
Yeah.
right? Knock on this most likely fake wood. But the bad luck can't last forever.
I do believe this could be Christopher Bell's year. So
And we didn't even plan that.
Yeah, we did not. Let's go down to the Xfinity Series. I did not have guys just missing on.
Yeah, neither did I.
So my guys just getting eliminated in the first round were Taylor Gray, Brandon Jones, William Sawalich, and Carson Kvapil.
William Sawalich was the first guy out for me. In my first four, going from 12th to 9th, I have Brandon Jones, Ryan Sieg, Taylor Gray, and Christian Eckes.
All right. In my round of 8, I have Sheldon Creed. He can never catch a break, and he's going to be the first guy out of the Final Four. Jesse Love, Christian Eckes, and Sammy Smith.
Mm-hmm. Okay. 8 to 5, I have Sammy Smith. 7th, Harrison Burton. I think going down to the Xfinity Series can be a big boost for him for his career. Maybe this is probably a bit of a hot take, but I'm going to put him in there. I think the Cup experience, even though he didn't have a good time in the Cup Series, I think that experience will transfer into something, because he was a pretty solid Xfinity Series driver.
Yeah, he got 3 career wins, but the issue why I didn't have him in my playoffs is that car was so bad last year.
Yeah, I don't know too much about the Xfinity teams. I will admit that. So this could be a crazy take, but I can't go back on it.
It's not that crazy.
And then 6th and 5th, 2 teammates, Sam Mayer and Sheldon Creed. Sheldon Creed, first guy out of the Final Four for me as well, like you said.
My Final Four has Sam Mayer. I'm going to say the all 4 drivers, including my championship winner. Justin Allgaier, defending champion. Austin Hill, another guy.
I think I know who your champion is.
And then my 4th driver that I put in, which was not in the Xfinity Championship last year, Connor Zilisch. Those are my Final 4 guys. Who's going to be in your Final 4?
Okay, my Final 4, I also have the defending champion, Justin Allgaier. I have another guy who was in the Final 4, in Austin Hill. I have Jesse Love. And I also have the rookie, Connor Zilisch.
You said you know who my championship pick is. Would you like to make a guess? And if you are right, I will put you in the Genius of the Year, Nigel Dock.
Does it rhyme with Donner Tillich?
It might. Would you like to say his actual name?
Connor, whatever his middle name is, Zilisch.
Connor Zilisch is my champion. He's a
Jackson. That's his middle name.
He is such a phenomenal talent. He
The way that Andrew lights up when talking about him is crazy. But I can't blame him.
I have been a day one believer in this kid. And the fact that he's done so well makes you happy. It's like putting, when a stock comes out, you put some money into it,
Right.
and it takes off, and you're happy. So that's kind of my thing there. Why I'm so happy. But yeah, I think Connor Zilisch is a great driver, and I think he'll win the championship, and he'll have an impressive year in his rookie year.
Fair enough. I think it's honestly not a crazy take at all. The kid is so talented at such a young age. Everything that he's been put in, he's performed for the most part. I mean, pretty much. I can't think of a series that he struggled in off the top of my head. And this is a guy whose junior career that me and Andrew have talked about extensively, just because of how great it is coming into now the Xfinity Series. This is a guy who I wanna see him in IndyCar. I want to see him race everything, because I agree with you. I think he's an amazing talent. But we're not going 2 for 2 in agreement, Andrew. I have Connor Zilic finishing in the runner-up position. I have Justin Allgaier defending his championship, a very, 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 very difficult thing to do in NASCAR. But I think the experience, at the end of the day, gives him an advantage. Experience with the team, experience at the track, experience being in that moment gives him an advantage over Connor Zilic. And then I have the RCR teammates Jesse Love and Austin Hill completing the Final Four. I am very high on Jesse Love, not to the same extent as Connor Zilic. Zilic is just an insane talent, but Jesse Love is also a very young, very talented driver. Finished 8th in his rookie season in the Xfinity Series. Had maybe a little bit of a slow start, had a little bit of a mid-season lull, but for the most part was a very impressive runner as a rookie, and he's only like 20, 21, something like that, so I think that he's going to take a step up into that Final Four. That's why I have him finishing third.
He's a few months older than I am.
Yeah.
Younger than you.
So he's 20.
Yeah.
So super young, super talented. And then Austin Hill. I mean, we know what he can do. He can find his way into the Final Four. He's amazing at the tracks that he's amazing at, and last year he started to show that even the non-Austin Hill tracks, he can put in some good performances.
Yeah. Moving over to the Truck Series. In the round of 10.
Yeah.
Which is I'm glad it doesn't go 8-6-4. I'm glad it goes 10-8-4. I'd like to make it trucks. Let's make it 12 here.
Might as well, right?
Might as well. But anyway, the final 2 guys I have, or the 2 guys missing out on the 8 are the McAnally-Hilgeman teammates of Daniel Hemrick and Tyler Ankrum.
Okay. Well, I have one of those guys out at the bottom. I have Tyler Ankrum in 9th. In 10th, I have a guy that I think you might have higher than me, Andrew. In fact, I almost expect it. Caden Honeycutt, I have finishing in 10th. I think that he's... In his limited running, he's shown some very nice things. But I'm looking at the top of the Truck Series, and there's some guys. Like, this is a talented field, in my opinion.
Oh, absolutely. You look at any of these NASCAR series and the top 3 series and say, oh, you can't just go. You can't just put some guy that has had mild success in ARCA and just say, okay, you're gonna run well in trucks. That's not gonna happen.
The level of competition even in trucks there. Is so high.
Yeah.
So
it's not the same in Cup. It's not even to level
no.
But it's still good. But moving on to our elite, or I called it Elite 8,
Elite 8,
but
yeah.
It's not technically called round of 8. I have rookie. I'm so bad at Italian names. Gio Ruggiero? I think it might be how you pronounced.
Gio Ruggiero.
Giovanni Ruggiero. I don't know.
Ruggiero. Yeah. That is how it would be pronounced.
I think he is an interesting contender. I don't know. I feel like he could be it or he could be not it. We'll see.
Is that kind of a dark horse for you?
Yeah, kind of a dark horse. I have 2-time champion Ben Rhodes. I know he's getting paired up back with Rich Lucius, crew chief he won the 2 championships with, but I don't know if he can just get it done. I have Lane Riggs, who had a great postseason run, except they wasn't in the postseason. So I think he's going to make the postseason this year. And then I thought there was 5 guys that say, okay, these are your championship contenders, true championship contenders. So I had to put one out. And that guy I put out was Rajah Caruth.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, I agree with you. Raja is the first guy out for me as well. I really like Raja. I think we both do. We have some difference in our top fours, but yeah, I just couldn't quite put him there. Eighth though, I do have Riggs. Like you said, young, talented, showed he can wheel it. You know, I have Chandler Smith in 7th with Furniture Row and Daniel Hemrick front row. I think Eric also said the same thing 2 weeks ago. And then Daniel Hemrick, the second McAnally Hogaman Racing driver in the playoffs. Those last two guys, Hemrick and Smith, coming back down to trucks. It's kind of a similar concept for me that I have Harrison Burton in Xfinity. These guys, they have the experience at the higher level, so-called higher level. They'll be able to apply it in trucks, maybe.
I think we have 3 of the same Final Four.
I think we do, yeah.
The guy that differing for me is the guy you just mentioned, Chandler Smith. I think he's a very talented driver. I think he's going to put a lot of people say, okay, wait, why did we put this guy back in trucks again? Like, he's too talented to not be in trucks. And then I'm going to have 3 of your defending Final Four.
Yeah.
Ty Majeski, Corey Heim, and Grant Enfair.
Yeah.
All solid drivers, all proved why. They're kind of good.
Yeah.
Last year. Especially Grant Enfair. He's the guy that surprised me last year because CR7 didn't have that speed historically. If you look at that team's historic speed, they weren't it. But
yeah.
Enfinger, he took that team to a new level. And I mean, that team went from a C, D tier team to an A tier team in the span of 1 year.
Yeah.
That's how talented that guy is.
I also have Grant Enfinger. As you said, CR7 Racing, Cristiano Ronaldo Motorsports. He's in the top 4 for me. Very, very talented. I have the reigning defending champion, Ty Majeski, Corey Heim, and Ben Rhodes in my Final 4. I think Ben Rhodes, you even said, teaming up again with the guy that he won a championship with. 2 championships with. He's too talented to not be in the Final 4.
There's so many talented guys that Rhodes didn't have to compete with in the past. Heim. Smith is back. Majeski. So, I think Rhodes is going to take a step up this year. But I don't think he's going to take that much of a step up this year. Anyway, my champion, I don't know who you have, and I don't know if you know who I have.
I don't know.
I don't have any inkling.
Do we want to count down again and see? It would be really funny either way.
Ethan, what time is it?
10:24 p.m.
That's not what I meant.
Oh.
This guy in the championship for last 2 years, he just hasn't gotten it done. But it will be his time.
Oh, yeah, no, we have the same guy.
It will be
Heim
time.
Yeah, I agree. It has to be his year, right? And it's a similar thing with Bell. Andrew, when we were in that post-race press conference in Avondale at the racetrack, Corey Heim just, you could tell how much this means to him. I think that it's going to be a similar thing coming so close. It's not gonna drag him down. It's gonna lift him up. It's gonna make it mean even more to him. And that's not the only thing that matters, of course. It already meant a lot to him before, but he's just gonna... There's like something about it, like the will, the extra motivation to make it happen. And I think that in the truck series, like those in the Final Four, like all of these drivers are so good. I feel like anything can happen. But Heim is hungry for it. I think he's the hungriest for it. So I do have him winning, and then in the order of 4-2, I have Grant Enfinger, Ben Rhodes, and Ty Majeski.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's going to be it for Loose Wheels Show, episode 5 of season 3.
Yeah, it'll be fun to see how wrong we are
or
in
how
November.
right we are. Hopefully we'll be right. Anyway, do you have any final parting words to say to our audience?
That was
before
it.
We see
Just
again next
you know,
Tuesday night.
We'll get a graphic or set of graphics out on Instagram and Twitter, and then when November comes around, and after we're done at Phoenix again, we'll compare. We'll see how right we were. It'll be a good time, but only time will tell how right or wrong we were. And speaking of time, we're out of it right now. So, goodbye.
Goodbye. See you next week for our Daytona 500 preview. More Blaze programming coming right up.
To me, it looked like he actually lost the wheel.
The wheel for Ross Chastain is still and perfect.
Wheel on the track.
Did you leave the wheel loose?
You picked the fine time to leave me loose, wheel.